I feel like these are the things that actors need. So that's why we offer self-tape services here, headshots for beginners if you don't have one, and just kind of like the career counseling on how to start. So many actors don't know where to start acting, and unfortunately there's a lot of scams out there. There's a lot of things that are just like, don't pay for that kind of stuff. You know, don't, if they're asking for money, don't do it. You know what I mean? But there is a way to, you know, go through this journey and go through your acting career, and there are steps, and you know, I guess you just have to be patient, and it is an investment in time and money and classes, and it doesn't come overnight.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Film Goals Podcast. Today I'm with the one and only Abby Ray.
Hi.
And we're here at the Abby Ray Studios. So how you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah? I'm glad we finally got together and able to do this podcast episode.
Yeah.
It's funny because you posted something about wanting to be more podcast after we had scheduled. And then people started sending me like, hey, your post. That was pretty funny. So I'm like, oh, okay, it was perfect timing for us too.
Yeah, they were like tagging me or tagging you.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we got it. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it'll happen. Yeah. So yeah, Abby, you are an actress, and you run your own studio, and you do a bunch of other things. So you run a whole studio and everything. You're a teacher. You teach acting. So tell me how you got into filmmaking in general, or acting.
Acting. I've always wanted to act since I was a kid. So like I was like 11, and I just, you know, it's crazy because like seeing all our students, they're like 11 and they're just like so passionate about it. I was like, I know how that feels, you know? So I was always really shy. I didn't want to go audition or do anything because I was always really shy. But finally, right before I turned 30, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to audition, see what happens. But also I've done like small plays for the community and everything back when I was a teenager. So I was always behind the scenes.
Okay.
Kind of like, not really necessarily behind the camera, but I've done, you know, I've directed plays and yeah, I was like, I'm not getting any younger, so I have to just do it.
Right.
And so I did, and I didn't get the first audition, or I didn't get that role, but the second one I did. And then next thing I know, we were on a plane at Reno shooting a feature film.
Oh, damn.
And then 3 weeks later, we were shooting another feature film. And it was just like, I was like, oh, this is something this is great. This is nice. And so, I don't know, I just fell in love with it after that.
So what did you do between 11 and 30? Did you try to like, because you said you were directing plays, so did you like go to school for plays or behind the scenes stuff? Like, did you do theater or?
Yeah, I went to UNLV for theater, so I have a general theater degree. Not necessarily like performance, because I was like terrified of the stage, but
so you were doing like the technical production or director?
So when you go into the program, you know, you can take classes. Like there was a lighting class, there was a costume class, there was a set design class, there was a directing class, you know, acting, of course. But yeah, I really enjoyed everything, like all aspects of it. And I feel like I was able to use that for whatever I'm doing now. And it's just such a great background to have with theater because, you know, it all comes together. It's like a very collaborative art. So I feel like for me, like a good film or a good play just has like everyone working together. So I really like that about the theater. Yeah.
Okay.
And film does it too.
So since theater was your first love, like, were you acting for plays or were you just, okay, you never?
I only started acting for films.
Okay.
When what is that, 2017, when they started doing the 48.
Okay.
I think that was one of the first. Well, actually, no, because I did the films first, but that was a really good experience because that's the one that came out first. Because you know how long films take to edit and everything. So. Yeah.
That's awesome. So then did you like was it being, because theater you're in front of people, was it that part that scared you? Because
Yeah.
in film you're behind, you're in front of the camera, but you're not technically in front of an audience.
Right.
But there's still a bunch of people behind the scenes. So what
Yeah.
was like the
I mean, I think it's the fact that you can still cut and edit
Okay.
if you mess up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's just the live aspect of it is, sometimes I don't know. Maybe it's
Nerve-wracking.
yeah, maybe it's like the perfectionist in me or something that's
Okay.
just like I don't want to mess up. But I think there's just a little bit of that eventually I do want to, and I think now looking back, I raised my kids because I had my kids at 23, so pretty early, and when they're like kids and they're toddlers, they need a lot of attention. They're 12 and 13 now, so I can just like kind of leave them.
Yeah.
They can feed themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you were
that's
still
what I was
being like a
doing.
mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And,
So what was the first role that you got? The one that you went to Reno for?
that was the film was called Home,
Okay.
and it's like a psychological thriller, and I don't want to say too much because it's on Amazon if you want to watch it. But yeah, it's pretty intense for like a first film.
Okay.
But I loved it, and like that was kind of like I was kind of thrown into that because I did take acting classes before that, and I have the degree and everything, but nothing beats being on set and just there's a lot of things that they don't teach you in school that you only learn on set, like the terms and everything, and just how people kind of move and what happens, and just that experience is just so different than
Yeah.
the education,
Right.
So that was a really, really good experience. And
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you remember what that role was? Like, what was your character?
I was a mom
Okay.
I had 2 daughters, and gosh, I can't really get too much into it.
Go
and
watch
it's also
it.
been so long too. It's
Yeah.
been 6 years,
I mean, it
7
was your
years.
first role, yeah.
Yeah.
But usually people like remember their first role, because it's
Right.
like, yeah, it's a big thing.
I
so.
just remember losing my voice, screaming. So like with new actors, I feel like a lot of new actors do something that's called like the method, and they kind of put themselves into the character. And I think that's what I did was like I'm just gonna put my mind into this, and it was really tough because that particular one, I think I remember getting like panic attacks in the middle of a
wow.
scene or something, just because it was so intense.
Yeah.
And it was really hard to kind of get out of it. So yeah, that was one of the things that I learned about that one.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's other ways, and but that's kind of what actors have to like sacrifice
Yeah.
sometimes. Because I would get like lightheaded from like breathing or crying too much or whatever. But yeah, it's a good experience though.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. If that doesn't sell it, I don't know. We'll go check it out. But I'm curious. So you went from theater to film. How did you figure out those techniques? Was that from acting in theater, or because you didn't
Nah,
take theater
it's
acting
different.
classes? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't take film classes
Okay.
or film acting classes, and that's the reason why we have film classes, like on camera acting, is because you kind of do like just like especially stage actors who go from stage to film or stage to screen. It's really it's a big jump because
Yeah.
it's really different. You don't get a lot of freedom. There's challenges for both, but yeah, it's very subtle. And I'm actually teaching a class right now. I actually just recorded what I was going to teach. So, but yeah, I never really went to a class for.
So how did you learn when, like you saying, you were getting panic attacks because you were so deep in the character? Like, how did you learn that, or is that something that you just went full? Like, full
I
force
just
into?
kind of. Yeah, well, at UNLV they taught us a lot of techniques, and you kind of just whatever. I guess whatever I remembered, I just kind of did.
Okay.
And I don't know what happened actually, but it was just one of those like, hey, just give it your all and
Right.
and however you get there, just do it kind of thing. But then that's like tiring, especially if you're going to be doing that constantly, multiple takes, dozens of times. And that's like, by the end of that day, you're just like beat up.
You're drained,
you know? So.
And it's 12-hour days.
12-hour days. It's like,
Yeah.
But then you get like used to, sometimes I would save my energy for when the camera's on me instead of like giving it my all when it's like a over the shoulder, or if it's just someone else, I'm just like here. And I promise that I'm not being lazy. It's just I'm really trying to save my energy
for the close-ups.
Yeah, for the close-ups.
That's smart. So how did that bring you to where you're at now, which is your studio? What was like the inspiration for you to open your own studio up and teach classes?
So that I noticed that when I was acting, this was around 2018 maybe, that there are not a lot of services for actors. I could not find readers. Maybe I wasn't really looking, but like self-tape auditions and everything, that was a challenge for me because I was trying to find like a corner of in my room, in my house, like just try to find a blank corner with the correct lighting. It was just so hard. And at the same time, you're doing technical things, but at the same time, you're also trying to do your audition, which is so difficult. So I didn't know anybody who did that. So I was like, okay, well, I feel like these are the things that actors need. So that's why we offer self-tape services here, headshots for beginners if you don't have one, and just kind of like the career counseling on how to start. So many actors don't know where to start acting, and unfortunately there's a lot of scams out there. There's a lot of things that are just like, don't pay for that kind of stuff. Don't, if they're asking for money, don't do it. You know what I mean? But there is a way to go through this journey and go through your acting career, and there are steps, and I guess you just have to be patient, and it is an investment in time and money and classes, and it doesn't come overnight. I feel like a good 10 years is what actors need for them to go from beginner actor to working actor, and even more. Like, honestly, I feel like,
it's you're constantly learning. You're constantly growing as an artist in general.
Yep.
So what was your first step, and what was the process into getting it done?
Oh my goodness. The first, I wish I had guidance, honestly. The first step was a a lot of trial and error. Just first I found Facebook posts. I went on Facebook and looked at who, just like casting calls and everything. And then, because I didn't really know if I wanted to really do it. And then eventually I got on Actors Access, Backstage, did like little things here and there. And that's kind of how I built my resume. So, a lot of trial and error. There were projects that I was just very like sketchy, and it's hard to know when you're new. It's hard to know that that's not gonna either go anywhere, or that's just, someone's just doing something and it's not gonna further your career kind of thing. And it's hard to tell. So honestly, there is just like a sense of just trying it out and see what happens. But also just being around filmmakers, doing all these events, networking events, that helps. And researching the particular, films that this filmmaker has done. So even still, like even now, I would still research that. And just to kind of see like what they do and what I'm getting myself into kind of thing.
Right, for sure. And what was like the process to opening up the studio? Because it takes a lot to even, get started with that. So how did that work?
Honestly, I could not have been able to do this without my husband. He has a really good job, and that allowed me to not have to kind of work. So I wasn't working for a while. I did a lot of jobs here and there, but it wasn't like a full-time thing just because I had kids as well. So, it started with me acting, and then me figuring out, that's that's what people need. That's what actors need. There was a need. And so when starting the business, that kind of gave me confidence to be like, oh yeah, we do need something like that, and there is a need for this. And I don't know, I just kind of jumped into it. It started with acting classes, actually, because I wanted to teach acting classes.
Okay.
So because I have been teaching here and there, but I didn't have a place and I didn't want to do it at home. So it was just like a small area over there, and we just had 2 little rooms. But now we're in here. I don't know, everyone can't see it, but
you can't see it, but check out the photos on the website and everything.
Yeah, it's we do events here. It's a little bit bigger. It's a dance studio.
Yeah.
So
a dance studio where you hold your classes, right?
Where we hold our classes.
You do like showcases and stuff like that.
Yeah, panel discussions.
So talk a little bit about how like it grew, because I mean, I remember I haven't been here in a while, so this room was new for me.
Right.
You just had those other 2 rooms, but like, how did it grow, and how did you kind of, what was your like thinking behind it? Because you started with classes, and now it's kind of like it's a academy, right? We have so many things going on.
It's great. I mean, it's been almost 3 years, and it's been, you know, it's hard to see it grow when you're there watching it, like when it's me. Yeah, but I know like other people will be like, hey, good, you know, they love seeing the growth and the expansion. And I just felt like we needed this room, the bigger room, just because we were getting more students, and it's hard to even fit like 8 students in there. You know, it gets a little tight. But this one, they can actually do more movement, which actors really need to be able to move around, because, you know, this is your instrument, and our teachers are really, really good at teaching movement. And even if you're not a stage actor, I feel like just being able to use your body to embody a character is very helpful.
Tell us a little bit about your like curriculum or whatever, like what you teach, and like from what age to what age? Yeah,
so I teach, because we have different teachers, but what I teach is something I've been wanting to, like, that's the classes I wanted to go to. I wanted to find classes that broke down different acting techniques. So I would teach a lot of the techniques, which is Stanislavski, Strasberg, Adler, Uta Hagen. We have a Meisner teacher, so I'm leaving that to him. And practical aesthetics, Ivana Chebuk. So just a bunch of different things. And our other teachers teach fundamentals of acting, which is a lot of just the core, what you need as an actor, just the very, very, very basic before you even touch scripts. And like I said, there's a Meisner teacher, and we have like business of acting classes that we're going to start up. But we like to throw that in there because that's kind of what you need as an actor. Like you take acting classes, but you also need to know how to get jobs.
Right.
And how to build your resume. And there is a correct way to format a resume, which like I didn't know about all this. So like our goal is to be able to, when you take our classes, you'd be able to know how, you know, to experience on set and know what it's like when you get there. Especially for the kids. We have kids classes from 8 to 12. And the reason why it's 8 is because we work with scenes and they have to be able to read. So, but we've done like film classes with them. And I heard one of our students got cast for a film, and I asked the director, hey, how did you do? And he was like, oh yeah, she knew all the camera angles. And
wow.
I was like, good.
That's amazing.
You know, that's good. You know, and they're like 12, 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
And they just, I think it's really important to know, like just even behind the camera, because as an actor, you kind of know, you have to know what your framing is and everything, just so you know how much not to move or how much, you know, to do all that stuff.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So where do you see like the academy going, or like your studio in general?
I really hope we can make this like every day have classes here. That'd be great.
How often are you doing now?
We have a class on Monday night, Fridays improv. We have improv classes. The kids classes have 2 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. We're about to add another one oh my gosh, I can't even think about it. I want to say we have about 6 classes maybe.
Okay, a week.
A week, yeah.
Okay.
Different times and different ages, different levels,
Right.
beginning to advance. Yeah.
That's awesome. So talk a little about your summer thing you just did, because I think that's really cool. Because like, I think I talked with other actors and other people before, and it's like I didn't know these things existed when I was younger, especially here in Vegas,
Yep.
and they were so rare. So it's cool that now there's a place where kids can go and do something over the summer.
We had a summer camp program a couple months ago, and it was a good experience. I think a lot more people knew about our studio from just giving out the flyers and posting that we're here. So I feel like that's probably what, I don't know. Actually, I don't know where everyone's coming from. They just appear. But like, I feel like summer camp kind of helped boost our attendance now, especially with the kids. We've doubled our size from before summer camp and now. So I think it really did help. But
yeah, because parents are trying to get rid of their kids. They're like, get out of here.
And you know what's surprising? Like when I talk to these kids, they're saying, "Oh yeah, I saw an actor on Nickelodeon and I wanted to be like him." And I was like, "That's so cool!" And they're like 11-year-olds, you know. And that's great. And I'm really, that makes me happy that they know what they want and their parents are supportive and they're here, they're bringing them to classes and everything, and it's exciting. Yeah.
That's a good question, actually. Like, how do you figure out your marketing, and like how do you find these people to start coming to class? Like,
that's another trial and error thing because it's such a small, like very particular thing that like it's not like sports, you know, where everyone knows about sports and they just kind of, do it. It's such a small market that you kind of have to find what works, and also depends on where your location is. We're very far from a lot of people, but actually, we're beginning people from Arizona and Boulder City. Yeah. So we're getting Boulder City and Arizona. And it's interesting because, they get here in like 20 minutes and I'm like, oh, really? Is it that close?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
No, you're far out.
Yeah. But like, it's one of those, let's try this and see what happens. If it doesn't work, then we won't do it. But let's try this now, and just trying to find different angles on how to get more people. Right now I have a thing in the back of my car. It just says, yeah, it says the studio's name on it, and like that's kind of what you have to do. It's a hustle. Actually, someone contacted me about like yearbooks and everything. She's like, would you like to be in the yearbook or publications? I'm like, yes, that's what we need, because I think there's so many schools here, and there's a lot of families and a lot of kids here in Henderson, that I feel like we do need that here. And the people I'm meeting are saying, I live on Water Street. I literally can walk here. I didn't know this place existed. And I was like, oh, okay. What am I doing wrong with my marketing? But it's like, also, I don't want to pay so much. Like, I don't know if it's even targeting the right people. So honestly, I feel like it's just time. Like the longer you stay open, the more people hear about it, the more they tell their friends, and I think that's just how it is right now.
Yeah, I think like you're at a place where you're kind of new still, so you can just try stuff out, and see what happens. What sticks, and then go from there. So real quick before we wrap it up, let's talk about what is that? Was that the name of the TV show you were in?
Oh, The Cleaning Lady.
The Cleaning Lady. Yeah. So you're running the studio, you're teaching acting, and you're still booking roles. Yeah. So that's pretty cool to see. Tell me about how that happened, and when did you audition, and how was the whole
that's a crazy
working with them?
That's a crazy process. I've never done anything like that before in my life. I have a New Mexico agent, and when I was looking for agencies, I wanted a New Mexico agent because Netflix is there. There's a lot of studios there, and there's not a lot of Filipinos. I don't know. That's probably the reason why my agent got me, because I can speak Tagalog. And Filipinos, they have a really small talent pool over there. So when they look for local hires, which I am a local hire there, they don't have a lot of people. So it's a good way in. Even
if you don't live there, you could still be like a local hire?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Depending on your agent, I guess, and depending on the project.
Right.
As long as you pay for your lodging and everything. Yeah. But This one, I got an EcoCast email from one of the casting directors, and that said, "Hey, can you audition for this?" And so my agent sent it to me, and I was like, "Yes," because I know about this. I know about it. I did a little bit of research, and between the time that let me go back. When I auditioned for it, and probably a couple of days later, or like a week later, I was put on avail, or they pinned me, and obviously I don't really know exactly what that meant, but at the time, but then my agent was like, "Okay, well, you're in the mix, but there's nothing official yet. They're still kind of trying to figure everything out. They're trying to figure out everyone's schedule, whatever." And then I was on avail for like a whole week, and that was the longest week of my life, because you don't know.
Right,
that
you
that was
stay open.
Yeah, and that was a co-star role, and I've never had a co-star role, and that was on Fox. Now it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, that was like a big thing. So I was just like, I could not sleep. I was texting like my agent, and I was like, did you hear anything? But like, she's like, no, just kind of stay open, just leave. December 18th was the filming date, 2023. So that was the filming day, so I kept that open. And finally my agent called me, or they sent me an email and said, "Hey, we would like to book," just a quick email. It was like one line or something. We'll book her or something like that. I was like, cool. And my agent texted me, or she calls me, and she's like, "Hey, you got the part." I was like, oh my gosh. First thing I told was my husband, and my agent's like, "Hey, this is gonna go really fast because it's a TV show. They go super fast. It's gonna go really fast." It wasn't even like, I think it was like 6 to 8 hours later, I was on a plane.
Wow.
And they did everything for me. They picked me up from my house. They put me on a plane. They dropped me to the hotel. I was like, whoa, because they needed to get my fittings.
Right.
And they're off on the weekend, so they needed to get fitting on Friday, and then we were filming on Monday. They didn't want to like rush it on Monday, so I was there on Friday, did my fitting, and then I just kind of was like a tourist. I walked, and there was like a Breaking Bad store over there. It was cool. Yeah. So it was nice. It was really nice. And then we filmed on that Monday, the 18th. And man, food was great. we had. I didn't have a trailer, but I had like a honey wagon. And then we had like base camp. It was like really, really cool.
Yeah, legit.
That was legit.
That's awesome.
Biggest thing I've ever done.
That's cool. Yeah, I love that you're still like, auditioning and trying to pursue your own acting dream as you're helping other people. So
yeah, I feel like I need that. Honestly, I feel like it's a creative outlet, and I never really believed in this, but like it really helps my mental health. Like I feel like, yes, I can do everything else. I can, whatever I'm doing with my family, take care of them, take care of the studio, take care of like, the actors here, but I need something for myself, and I feel like these little projects are it. That wasn't little, but like, I'm gonna be filming next week a feature film, so I constantly like need that for myself. I feel like after a film I just feel great. And it's just part of, I guess it's just. Do you see
the studio now that you've been open for like 3 years, do you see it as a job, or is it still something that like you love to come in and it's still passion?
I don't think it's gonna change.
Because you have to do like the day-to-day business stuff that like running the studio. And it doesn't feel like, oh man, it's a job.
No. I feel like I was reading a book or actually listening to the audio book, but like I think they said something about it. You want to choose your problems, and the problems, and I'm butchering this, but like you are going to have problems in life, but the problems, like if it's a good problem, you're going to want to keep doing it because you solve it.
Right.
And so like this is a good problem. Right. Like the more people we get, that's a good problem, and that's something I want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm still just loving that people keep coming, and we're growing, and we just, honestly, Vegas, and I say this all the time, Vegas film community has been so good to me. I've built my resume here. I've done a lot of things here. I've worked with a lot of directors, and I just want to give back because, there's actors that, just like me, who started and don't know where to start. So, Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's pretty much.
Well, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on a podcast. I'm
Yeah.
glad we finally did it. This is Abby Ray Studios. Check it out. And I'm going to leave all your info below. And thank you guys. See you next time.
Thank you.
Peace.